What is up, faithful? Today I'm going to be talking about my record predictions. I'm going to be explaining why they were the way they were. And the floor with the ceiling. The floor, I had them at 12-5. And the ceiling, I thought the best that they could possibly achieve was 13-4. And the reason for that is because of the fact that the way that the Niners schedule is set up, the additions the 49ers have made, Mike Evans, Christian Kirk. We have Debo back now, who's definitely looking a lot lighter than he was when he was last with us. Christian McCaffrey is definitely going to be taking less snaps this year than he was last year. He had 400 snaps, and the thing is, and Kyle Shanahan said this himself. He's like, Christian McCaffrey may not like it, but he's gonna have to deal with it. It's not an insult to him, but this year the 49ers are clearly going to be moving towards a running back by committee. They're going to be using our backups, which is what I've been wanting to see. I know there's plenty of creators out there who talk about the 49ers who have said the same thing. We need a running back by committee. Christian McCaffrey cannot continue to take the type of snaps that he's taking. He needs to be fresh for the playoffs. We cannot have him constantly having tendonitis in his knee or tightness in his calf. Our players need to stay fresh. And in all honesty, they need to move the goddamn freaking practice field so that way it's away from the substation. And I'm not saying that I believe that. I didn't believe it. But you know what, at this point, with the constant injuries every freaking season, I'm a person, if I believe in a conspiracy, I need to see arguable proof that it is not going to, it can't happen. And while I don't think it is playing an effect on it, the fact that they're constantly getting injured every season with the same type of soft tissue injuries is like, you know what, maybe there is some serious issues. The 49ers last year had an issue with left guard. And when you look at who started at left guard, we had Connor Colby, Robert Jones, Carver Willis. Our linebackers were pretty much beat up. We had Eric Kendricks playing towards the end of the season, and that dude was at home. Our secondary was beat up. Defensive line was beat up. Both starting defensive ends were out with the same damn knee injury. So the fact that we went 12-5 and we still had a very good passing offense, we were top 10 in passing offense. So I can't complain about that, but I want to see them run the ball. And we did get demolished in the playoffs. But when you look at that week 18 game against Seattle, it was pretty dead even. Our offense could not do anything because they didn't have the weapons to do so. Seattle knew how to shut them down. We didn't have an X receiver towards the tail end. Our receiving corps was horrible. So that plays a huge part because your X receiver is going to be drawing a lot of attention. And if you don't have a shifty, fast type of slot receiver to go down the middle, you're going to have problems too. And if you don't have your Z receiver, you pretty much don't have your damn receiving core, and that's where we were at last year. Ricky Pearsall couldn't play the Z receiver spot because he was in the slot receiver spot. We didn't have a damn X receiver. Who is our X receiver? Freaking Juwan Jennings? The dude runs a 4.7? I mean, hell, at that point, fucking snails move faster than him. You're not winning championships with that. Now, we have improved. We've brought in a bunch of offensive linemen that are competing for that center spot, that left guard spot. We've brought in Mike Evans, Christian Kirk, Debo Samuel's back. I know Ricky Pearsall is out for the rest of the season, and I think he's pretty much done. But I do think that the 49ers at best are going to be 13-4, and then at worst 12-5. And the wins that I'm unsure about that could go either way are the Vikings game in Mexico and that Kansas City Chiefs game. Kansas City has always had our number for some reason. No matter where they're at, no matter how good they are or how bad they are, they've had our numbers. Patrick Mahomes has been able to pull out wins. And those are the two wins that, those are either the one of them is going to be a win and one of them is going to be a loss. And it could end up both being a loss. But that ultimately is where I think that our season, in terms of where that final record is coming from, I think it's going to be. Now, I think the Vikings game is a little more in our favor because we are going to Mexico City and we do have a huge following down in Mexico. So for us, it is supposed to be a neutral site, but it's not. We are going to have a heavy fan base down in Mexico. So, the red and gold is going to be going strong in Mexico. We're going to be able to have essentially a home field advantage. And the only reason why I'm saying that Vikings game can go either way is because, they got Justin Jefferson, they got Jordan Addison, they just drafted a quarterback. They're trying to reload on their team. They're a threat. And I'm going to explain why the Rams. And I know I got some messages from Rams fans who think that, I'm being a little too favorable towards them. And I'm like, dude, I'm seeing your team as they are. I'm not going to sit there and say, yeah, the Rams are the best team in the division. I don't think they are. That's my honest to God opinion. I'm looking at your off-field issues. I'm looking at your aging quarterback. You just drafted a quarterback in the first round. And you just traded a slew of draft picks for Myles Garrett. And I know every fan is going to sit there and be like, yeah, it's Myles Garrett. The dude broke the sack record and yada, yada, yada. Oh my God. Yeah, dude, we all get it. Like, he broke the damn sack record. But when every team that they play against is passing the damn ball because their secondary is trash and they're constantly in man coverage, of course he's going to break the damn sack record. He has way more opportunities to get those sacks than he would if he was in the NFC West. I'm going to pull this up real quick because I'm curious about this myself. Let's see. Let's take a look at the rush attempts here for the 2025 NFC West teams. So because that's going to tell you exactly where each team is at. You know what I mean? Like, we're not a passing league. Like, we're not a passing division. While we might pass quite a bit, especially the 49ers did last year, but we were still trying to run the damn ball. Quite a bit. Let's see. See what comes up. Because I'm curious about this myself. Here we go. So the Arizona Cardinals, they had 21.5 attempts per game. Los Angeles Rams, 27.4 attempts per game. Our 49ers, 28.3 attempts per game. And the Seattle Seahawks, 29.8, almost virtually 30 attempts per game. Now you compare that to where he was at. Myles Garrett is not going to get the amount of rushing the quarterback. He's not going to be able to get the amount of sacks that he got in Cleveland. Like, there's no way. Then on top of that, you look at the type of defense that the Rams were running, and they were running last year a 3-4 read and react. This year they're changing to a 4-3. It's like a hybrid defense, so they're keeping the elements of that 3-4, which they will still use, but they're moving towards a 4-3 wide 9. You built your defense off of a 3-4 read and react system where most of your coverages were all zone. Now you're asking that same defense, and mind you, the defensive tackles, the heaviest defensive tackle for the Rams is probably sitting around 288 pounds. Let's see where they're at, because that's going to help us out quite a bit. Because, yeah, and right now it has them listed as a 3-4, but they are going to be moving towards a 4-3. And you're asking a defensive tackle defensive tackles who are designed to play a certain way for a specific defense, and now you're telling them, hey, we need you to play in a 4-3. They're not like 3-4, like you see this all the time with teams who sit there and pick up defensive players that primarily operate in 3-4, and it doesn't end well. Myles Garrett has played in a 4-3 defense for most of his career. In fact, I don't think he's ever played in a 3-4 defense in the NFL. But the Rams are now moving to a 4-3 wide 9 with defensive tackles who are nowhere near in the type of shape to be able to plug gaps the way that they are needed to in a wide 9. You can't just pick the wide 9 up suddenly and say, yeah, we're going to do it. Doesn't work that way. Like, you're going to end up having communication issues. People are going to be out of position. And to sit there and change your entire defense to compensate for one dude is going to cause you problems, because when those defensive tackles are unable to plug the gaps and you don't have the linebacker talent, and I'm going to say this outright, who the hell are the linebackers on the Rams? I guarantee you the average fan base, unless they look it up, they don't know. Hell, I don't know, and I'm looking at it. And when you look at this right now, their linebackers they're not listed. I mean, hell, they got Myles Garrett. I mean, Myles Garrett's listed as the Sam linebacker. And you understand how they're going to do that. Like, he's essentially going to be on the line. Like, this isn't going to end well for the Rams. And that's the reason why I'm saying I don't think they're the best team in the division. I know a lot of other people might say otherwise, but moving from a 3-4 to a 4-3 to compensate for one player, not going to work. So, this is my take. I do think Seattle is by far still the best team. Their defense, they did lose players, but their team is, for the most part, intact. The 49ers have a new receiving core. We're splitting carries on the running backs. We still have our coaches. Raheem Morris is a Super Bowl winning defensive coordinator. He won with the Rams. He knows their offense. most people aren't going to sit there and say, yeah, Raheem Morris is going to play a big factor. Yes, he is. He knows the Seahawks, the Rams offense. He knows offenses. That's why he's still he won a Super Bowl with the Rams. He's known for good defenses. So I'm giving us this record, and mind you, if severe catastrophic season-ending injuries happen, then by all means, I will put out and think where I'll put out a new prediction, but it's probably going to be mid-season. But right now, I think the 49ers are a 12 to 13 win team. I'm not going to sit there and be conservative with this, because that's not the way that I look at things. I look at things realistically. I see where teams are at, how I think they're going to play. And the Rams, I'm sorry to the Rams fans, but your team is not that good. You've made it to the division round every year for like the last, 2 to 3 years, and you've been eliminated by the same damn team. Last year being that you guys won you guys went to the NFC Championship game. And again, it was either the division that you were making it to or the NFC Championship game you made last year, and then you lost. And you lost to the same damn team, the Seahawks. You've been unable to get past the Seahawks. And the only way that either one of those teams has been able to win the damn division is when the 49ers suffer catastrophic injuries. Or we're having to freaking rebuild the damn team. Which that's a part of it. But again, I think Mike McDonald in Seattle, I think he's done a wonderful job building that team. And I think they're going to be a contender for the next few years, but I don't think the Rams are. I think, in all honesty, I think last year was probably going to be their last good push. And now you're going to have to find out, can the Rams build their team? And the answer is no. They don't have any track record of building the teams. And when they've had to, fail. Hell, every time they've freaking gone to a damn Super Bowl, every time they've won a Super Bowl, it's not because of players they've drafted. It's because of players they have traded for or bought. It is much harder to win a Super Bowl when you're strictly building your team from drafting and signing free agents. And every team signs free agents, but the Rams, they won their Super Bowl in 2023? A few years ago. And the biggest damn reason why they won that year was because of Von Miller. It had nothing to do with the rest of the team. Von Miller was the biggest reason why they lost. He was able to get to Jimmy G. He was able to pressure Jimmy G. Biggest reason. You take Von Miller out of that, and I guarantee you that game goes the other way. That's my take, and that's where I'm standing by it. Y'all can either like it, you don't have to like it, but that's where I think the Niners are going to be at. Also, the Raiders suck, because I did get a few Raiders fans commenting, you guys' team is trash. So I want y'all guys to have a good weekend. I'm not going to be posting at least for until after the weekend, but unless something crazy happens, I will. But stay faithful, guys, and don't forget to like, follow, share, comment, stick with, help a guy out, because I'm trying to, this is what I like to do. Take care.